Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you all showing up today. As Melissa said, I'm kind of new. I've only been working in the farm area for about 4 or 5 years, but I really have a passion for food. The real key to why I even got into the food business was because I love eating great food, obviously. But my name is Ron Smith. I'm the owner of the Root Cellar. The Root Cellar is a 100% local food store. Everything in the store comes from Kentucky and Southern Indiana farmers. We cover about a 150-mile radius. And that's all we have. We only sell food, and we only sell local food. So if you come looking for a lemon or avocado, you're in the wrong place. So I started the business in May of 2011, and we had a small corner shop at the corner of 3rd and Hill in Old Louisville. The main mission for this store was to bring this wonderful food that people like James Jackson and Mark Stoll and other farmers in the area have, all these great products, to have an additional venue for them to sell the products. So the idea was be open 7 days a week, have a farm store without owning a farm. I can coalesce all of these great products from all these different people and sell them all the time so that you don't have to wait for Thursday or Saturday or whenever to go, oh, I missed it this week, but I can go to the Root Cellar. So the main objective, the main mission is to bring good food, good high-quality local food to the people of Louisville, but I have a secondary mission as well. And this is from the onset of formulating this business. One of the major problems that I noticed when I was involved in neurology and in food and with the farmers markets was that there was very limited access to the people in the west and southern parts of town. I live in Beachmont, and we have a very, very small struggling farmers market. And so there's just not enough to go around. And who ends up without the west and southern parts of Louisville? The eastern parts have more. So these areas have been dubbed food deserts. And that was a particular interest to me. And so our secondary mission is to try to bring food to these neighborhoods that might otherwise not have the benefit of it. So that's a bit of a loftier social goal that is not as easy to attain. So first things first, get a store open, get it established, sell local food, and move from there. So in October of 2012, I opened a second store in Germantown. Now you wonder, wow, you're not really opening in a food desert. But in a way, it is. There's not a lot of opportunity in between the Highlands and Old Louisville where I was. I mean, you have Smoketown, Shelby Park, and I'm right on the edge of the Shelby Park boundaries there for Germantown, Paristown. And the great thing about Germantown is that they really wanted me there. They came after the store and said, we really want you to be there. So now you're getting this picture of people are wanting, have a desire for this, and they're willing to reach out and say, hey, will you come here? So marketing is a really important concept to kind of keep in the back of your mind. So I opened this store in Germantown, and what was happening was a lot of our customers who were Germantown customers from Old Louisville ended up going into the Germantown store. So I got in a situation where I needed more exposure. I needed to have a greater eye on the store where I had a higher capacity for clientele. Food business has very, very small margins. So it's very important to have high volumes, quick, get the products in, get the products out, quick turnover. And so as the winter is going on in December and January, I start to think to myself, how am I going to get this outreach so that when summer, May comes, I'm ready to actually maybe be able to make a living off of this store? Because I've been open for 2 years and I haven't paid my mortgage yet. I haven't taken any money out of the business. I just keep putting money in. So I started to think about this marketing aspect and increasing my volume. And about January and February, I started to think about our missions, and I put together a plan. And it's just a one-page quickie. I'll just leave it up there. You can peruse it if you want to. There's a lot of boring stuff. But when you look at the major objectives for what I need to accomplish, these are all givens, but how do we get to that point? How do we increase access to local food, raise awareness of this disparity, this dichotomy of food delivery? How do I create a new business opportunity for myself? how do I try to fulfill my secondary mission? So I decided to create a mobile food store. And I dubbed it the Root Mobile. And the idea was to convert a bus into a mobile food store that had the complete capacity of my, permanent locations in Old Louisville and Germantown, but yet was small, compact, and I could go anywhere. The difficulty of opening a store in West Louisville or South Louisville is I can rent a space, I can put it on the infrastructure, I can bring in all the food, and then what happens if the customers don't come? What happens if it's not the right place? What happens if it's not convenient? What happens because I don't know these neighborhoods? Just like I don't know Germantown. I don't know that there's a desire. Remember I said the Germantown folks approached me. I knew there was a desire for the food, but I'm not sure of where the marketplaces are in west and south ends of Louisville. So, especially seeing the Beachmont Farmers Market struggle so much. Am I going to put one in my own neighborhood and then not have the clientele? So this was a very important aspect that I wanted to accomplish, and I've made no bones about this. I am a business person, and my goal is to sell and to make money to support my family. Okay? So I'm not doing this for an altruistic sense, but I have to make sure that I have a marketplace. And by having a mobile food store, I can move and adjust based on where the clientele are. So this idea really started to formulate, and I thought, I don't have any money for this. I'm barely staying afloat as it is. I'm not drawing any money out of this. How am I going to put together a mobile food store? I'm in no position to do it. So I came up with the idea of doing a Kickstarter. I think I have it on here. Kickstarter. Has anybody ever heard of Kickstarter? So the idea with Kickstarter is to reach out to the community. You have an idea. It's not going to take a lot of funding. Well, some do, I guess. Some of these are big projects. But let's say you want to open up a dance studio. You're a nonprofit and you want to build something for the community. Or you're a for-profit business and you have an idea but you don't have the capital. You can reach out to a community, and it's basically an online community. You can get contributions from all over the world. But the idea is you reach out to people, you present your idea, and you have them evaluate it. And a bunch of small contributions can add up to quite a bit of money. So you go online, you get your project reviewed. It can't be, crazy. It's got to fit into parameters and then guidelines and everything. But I got the project accepted. This idea of buying a bus, the idea of refurbishing it and equipping it and doing this veg oil conversion. And they said, okay, go ahead. You have 30 days to raise the money. If you don't raise the money on your budget, if you don't, that you stipulated in the beginning, you don't get any of it. But if you raise it, you can get anything that goes over as well. So you have 30 days or 45 days, whatever you pick for a timeline. Well, I started it in March of this year, March 29th of this year, launched it, and we went really fast, and then we petered out, and but we finally, right at the end, we got over, I raised $11,127 to get this project going. Well, immediately I was out there. I had already had the bus picked out, I already knew some of the equipment, you have to be ready to go. And you're only accountable to the people who are part of the Kickstarter program. So I immediately started to put this thing together in November, and we unveiled it in a very modest form at the Buy Local Fair on May 11th. It wasn't really operational, it wasn't totally functional, but at least I had the bus. And one thing that I didn't talk about very much, and I'm not going to go into it here, running a bus and having equipment like freezers and refrigerators on there to hold your equipment, to hold your products, you have to have energy. And I could do a diesel, like a gas-powered generator. I could do solar panels with batteries, or I could run the diesel engine on the truck and generate power. And diesel gives me migraines, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to work around that. Solar doesn't have enough juice to be able to power this, and you need all these expensive battery packs. And a generator also was not a solution, because any profit that I would have would go right into fuel costs, right? I've already got a lot of that. So I had talked to some mechanics who are very ingenious mechanics, and they can convert a diesel engine to run on vegetable oil, used vegetable oil. So you recover all this fried oil from restaurants and donut shops and Chinese food places, you filter it and you have a fuel in its purest form. You put it right in the tank and you can run the engine. It's not that simple, but for the purposes of this, it's that simple. So we have indeed converted this bus to run on veg oil, which saves me a lot of money. It saves the environment. We're reusing resources, and it smells really good too. It smells like fries and donuts. Anyway, so that was the goal with this Kickstarter, and lo and behold, we did. Where'd Melissa go?
It's with a mouse.
What?
Yeah, you want to get out of that program. So we had to do a very active campaign to get this going. The reason I pulled up this particular clip is because it's the only real clip I have. So we had to make an all-out effort to get the community involved. Because remember, there are two things that I wanted to accomplish. One, I want to market, so this raises the awareness for the store overall. And I also wanted to raise awareness for the food desert problem, right? The more attention we can draw to this, the more maybe people will take an active role in this. We could always go on.
I can get it. It's not there anymore.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it.
It's right now. So I was very fortunate. You can see.
Oh, we're just not getting any volume then?
I got a little bit of press coverage, but the reason I wanted to show this clip is it kind of gives an idea of what the bus looked like beforehand and what some of the goals were. I have a great videographer, Ben Evans. I don't know if any of you know Ben. He's
Do we need this down?
It's on. Oh.
This is part of our Kickstarter, to keep people updated about what's going on. Good luck with that. Ben's a very creative videographer. He's a filmmaker. Yeah. Just explaining to her about how this setup was going to be. I need to remove all the seats and get the chair lift out. There was a large, handicap lift there with the back doors. And of course, I didn't do all this. Those amazing mechanics that did the visual conversion, they're fantastic folks. But, well, it's only a couple of minutes. But we did make the goal. We did convert it, and we did reach out to these neighborhoods and these communities, and we now have been invited to Beachmont Farmers Market. So the bus is actually out and operating every Saturday from 8 to 12. We got invited by the market manager there because that market has struggled with providing things to their clients like cheese and meat and eggs and dairy and a lot of the things that struggling markets want and need to grow that farmers market clientele. And they wanted it and they wanted it, and she said, you know what, I know you're not a producer, but because you tell everybody about the producers, the producers, they're all local, you're 100% local, if you would come, I think it would really help the market. And it's been really good for the market. I think it's been good for the farmers as well, because what happens is it draws in more people. Their prices are lower than mine. I have overhead. I've got to pay all kinds of stuff. And so my prices, like Kroger, are higher than what you get at the farmer's market. These guys get an increased volume of customers. They're selling out. And then when those latecomers come in, they're coming over to me. I'm the only one that has zucchini left. Everything else is gone. So it's a benefit to both of us, because the last thing I want to do is compete directly with a farmer, because I'm there to try to help the farmers. We're trying to grow this agrarian economy and this local farm economy, and the last thing I want to do is have them go back with food. So we are operational. You can see the bus here. I had to put in a stairwell, so we had to make covers because we actually have stairs in the back as an exit so that people can exit the bus because it was a handicap lift. And right here you can see, this is the diesel I have to run on diesel because veg oil will solidify in cold temperatures. So you run on diesel first, and then once the temperature of the engine gets warmed up, you flip a switch and you're on veg oil. And this is a separate veg oil tank that had to be installed, so I just put that in there for that. But you can see I have my tent in here. I know it looks a mess. And we were unpacking the bus when I took the pictures, so we have boxes. But that's basically the view from the front of the bus. This is our refrigeration. We have a lower storage area for our refrigeration, and up top we have our display area. And we have a carpenter did just some amazing work on some carpentry so that we have this storage. You know, it's like riding around in an RV. You have to have everything sort of tucked away because you're rocking and rolling in this big bus. So we have our maple syrup, our sorghum honey, and all of our Weisenberger mixes here. Oh, that one's a little dark, but he also constructed this back checkout. I've got a scale. I take debit, credit, and EBT. I can't go into West Louisville neighborhoods without taking EBT. And I'm approved at all of my stores, and we have EBT here, so it's a complete checkout. You come in, it's just rolling up to a corner store. Not the most ideal way for people to shop, but it's a way for me to explore the market. If I can get loyal clientele at the corner of 44th and Muhammad Ali, and they'll come every Friday, you know, from 3 to 6, and I say to them, look, if you keep coming, if you tell your neighbors, if the sales are there, I will commit to you that I'll put in a store in your neighborhood. If you don't come, I'll roll up somewhere else where they want. So, you know, it's not a threat. It's not, but the idea is to try to build that. Yes?
How has it been for you? Have you found any inroads?
Well, like I said, we're at Beachmont Market, so not necessarily really the goal that we want to do, but it does help pay some bills. And we also have been invited to UofL. Today is the day right after this talk. I will go down to the University Club. They invited us to come and expose the UofL staff and faculty down at the main campus to this awesome thing that you have down here. We're taking it down there in the University Club parking lot. Those are our two. And now we are at Parkland Community Garden. There's a large parking lot behind the Parkland Community Garden. We worked out with Attica Scott and the community garden leaders. Thanks for coming today. And we are down there from Friday from 2 to 6. And one of the really important things for us is I met with Kathy Dykstra at the Family Scholar House. And one of the things that's really interesting is Family Scholar House just put in a new building there. These young women and young men with their families, they have these beautiful new apartments, and they have kitchens, and they're being instructed. Back in my day, I don't know, a lot of you are real young, we used to have home ec. I had to learn how to cook. You either learn from your mom or you learned at home ec and all of these things, and that's all gone. Nobody knows how to cook at all. And so they have cooking classes there. And so we're trying to partner and work together so that you tell these people, hey, go out and cook for your family, but then there's no place for these people to shop who have limited transportation. They have to go on the bus and go all the way out to Whole Foods to get it or come to a farmer's market. If I can roll up on Friday, they can get a lot of this food that they want. So these are the kinds of partnerships that we're trying to develop and really want to foster and grow. So it's slow, but we're moving forward. It's just going to take time. So, oh, that's my freezer with the meat in there. And of course I have tables that I set out under those canopies, just like your farmers set up. Because, you know, I've got a store full of stuff. I'm going to sell tomatoes and peaches, and you can't sell everything. So that's pretty much the story of the Rootmobile. It's an evolving saga. I think I've probably taken up my, yes, 20 minutes exactly? Good. So nobody has to cut me off. Doing a yank.